because it wasn't always the case. When I was in college, it was Che Guevara on a t-shirt. But while Che Guevara was on our t-shirt, we were passing around copies of Assata Shakur. And Assata Shakur was not necessarily at Walden Books. And these were some of the, the types of books that we were looking for as young people, radical information. And the thing that I would want any educator or librarian to understand is that his books, any one author's books, always need to be contextualized.
Yes.
Now, you can read all of James Baldwin's body of work, but you also need to read what Leroy Jones, aka Amiri Baraka, was doing. And when you bring up that particular story about the white man laying next to his wife, I'm thinking of The Dutchman by Leroy Jones, aka Amiri Baraka, and what a time it was to write without hopes of being rich and famous. And think about the sort of stories James Baldwin was writing about when there was, and I'm quoting a Stevie Wonder song, when there was more hope and money. And that sort of rage that we can put on the page when there are high stakes and love combined. So in that sense, and when you're that particular story, I'm thinking about what does that mean? We could easily put Baldwin on a candle. We could all read the text and then be well read in Baldwin and say that we've read Baldwin, but that can only be the surface if we don't contextualize the time. The women writing as well, the authors who did not get the level of notoriety that James Baldwin did, whatever notoriety that he got at the time, how he became so visible, why he became so visible, and what access to white spaces was he given because of what he was saying and what he wasn't saying.
I think that's also some of the. I also think that that's part of the beauty, because I've been thinking a lot about this as well, right? Like, because he had a certain kind of privilege because he was able to move in spaces that most of us couldn't move in, right? I mean, you think about, like, there are a lot of people that we both could name off that were never given the opportunity to move in those spaces. But what I'm always fascinated by is that since he had the opportunity to move in those spaces, if you look at any interview of James Baldwin in a white room, he is relentless. Relentless. And so my whole thing is, if whatever the society has built that has propped you up because you are a man, right? Whatever the society has built that's propped you up because of your education, right? Whatever the society has built that's propped you up because of your ability to disseminate information that feels readily available for the not for the folks that you're actually writing about, but for the status quo, right? For them to give you the platform, then you have a responsibility to represent for those people who will never get there, and he always did. And if any of you have ever seen these shows, I mean, the way we talk about Toni Morrison, who has done this her entire career, every single chance she's in, like, my favorite one personally is, now there's one going around with, like, the lady, and she's like, you have no idea how racist this